Hey there! My name is Shreya, and you're watching the Stitch by Shreya Knitting Podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to go ahead and talk about some finished objects that I got done in the past couple of weeks, some works in progress that I'm slowly chipping away at, a couple of new cast-ons, a huge acquisition segment, and a little bit of life at the end. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who has liked, commented, shared my videos, or even messaged me on Instagram. Last week I hit 1,000 subscribers, and that is just like such an amazing milestone. I started YouTube just for me with the encouragement of some of my friends, and I'm just really excited to see where this goes. And all of the feedback and everything just really helps me continue to make videos because that positive feedback just makes me feel really good about the content that I'm putting out. So I just wanted to say thank you once again to all of you. And then I won't be doing a giveaway right this moment. Maybe sometime like in the spring next year, I'll think about it. I just don't have the bandwidth right now to do it. I don't know how to figure out Instagram giveaways or YouTube giveaways or whatever. And I just, at this point in time, it's just a little bit too much for me. But maybe something in the future is in the cards. But thank you again, everyone, so much for just tuning in and always having something nice to say. You might also notice that I have a microphone on today. This was a birthday gift from my dad, who is really into making videos and does a lot on his own. And so I asked him, I was like, do you have any recommendations for a mic? And he was like, you know what? Let me get you a mic that I have been wanting to try out myself, and you can try it out for your videos. So that's what I'm using today. It's gonna be a little bit of trial and error, so I hope that the sound quality is really good and that I don't have too many problems, but we'll see. It is my first time using something other than my AirPods. So yeah, thank you, Dad, if you're watching this. He didn't realize I had a YouTube channel until like last week. And then he was watching some of my videos and he was like, oh, this is really great. And I was like, that's so sweet. And yeah, it's just really nice because even though he's not interested in knitting at all, he watched one of my videos and he was like, Shreya, your color selection in your sweaters and stuff is so nice. If you ever make me anything, just like whatever colors you think suits me is what I'll go for. I was like, that's so sweet, Dad. Of course I'm gonna make you something, and you'll see that a little bit later on today. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and go into the finished objects section. Actually, before that, we're gonna go into what I'm wearing today. So I'm wearing my Skyline pullover. This is a test knit for Tori Yu. So let me just pull down my sleeves a little bit. So I am knitting this. I knit this out of Through the Wardrobe Yarn Company in her Fairy Tale Sock and Magical Mohair base held together. And the shade is Sleeping Beauty. This was for the Brothers Grimm collection from last year. I think this was the June colorway. And it's a really, really lovely pink, yellow, cream all throughout. I did not alternate skeins at all. So I just kind of went for it because I felt like the mohair would kind of tone down any color pooling that there would be. And actually I didn't find that there was any color pooling. So I'm very happy with this. I'm very happy with the fit. The sleeves specifically are what I love because it's a really nice like tapered fit that goes straight through my arm. And it has a really nice 3x1 rib detail that goes from the shoulder panel all the way down the sleeve. So this pattern is still in testing, but it should be released sometime next week, I think. So Tori gives like quite a long testing period, and she typically releases the pattern like right after the testing period is over. I have not had any issues with the pattern. Like I think beginning to end, there was not a single mistake that I found, which just means that Tori really has her stuff together when it comes to the testing process, and it's just amazing. So this is that. This is quite warm to wear right now. I'm gonna try to wear it throughout the entire episode, but if I get too hot, I will have an outfit change. California weather has just been fluctuating like crazy lately. Like it was pretty cold last weekend. Like I was wearing a sweater all day. And then this week it's like 80, 85 again. So I am having a difficult time because I really want to pull out all my sweaters and I want to start wearing them regularly. But unfortunately, the weather has other plans for us. So that's fine. I know that we'll have hopefully a long winter ahead of us, or long fall and winter season, and I'll be able to wear all my hand knits. So yeah, now we'll go into the finished objects. So this one, I am just so proud of myself. I did it. I got a very long-term whip off the needles, and that is my Satsuki pullover by Sari Nordlund. So the Satsuki sweater is found in the Aimee issue 21, fall winter 2021. And this pattern is very simple construction wise. You kind of start from the back panel, you knit the back, you pick up from the front, knit the front, connect in the round, go all the way to the end of the body, pick up the sleeves, sleeve cap, finish the sleeves, pick up the neckband, knit the neckband. So it's like pretty simple as far as construction goes. It has a very nice fit. I'll probably wear it next time I film if it's not sweltering hot. And I knit this out of John Arbin Textiles in the base Yarnadelic Sport in the shade The Beautiful Ones. So I'm going to bring this up to the camera so you can kind of see a little bit better. So it has a really lovely neutral base, but it also has hues of blues, purples, a little bit of pink and yellow, and some green as well. And I feel like it's really hard to see it on camera actually because the hues are so soft, but I feel like all of the John Arbin textile colorways have this like really beautiful marling of multiple different colors against a nice base. So the base being like this more taupey brown color, I think is just lovely. And then the cable detail are these really cute V's that kind of mimic My Neighbor Totoro. So this was, excuse me, I just lost my spot. So this one I knit the size extra large. So my reasoning was I was kind of in between sizes for this one. I knit the size extra large and I also had to size up my needles two sizes. So when I was doing my gauge swatch, the thing about the yarn itself is that it plumps up beautifully. And I was getting like a fabric I liked at US 6 versus US 4, which is what the pattern recommended. And so I sized up my needles and I still found that my gauge was like tighter than what Sari had. So then I ended up sizing up and I was like, you know, if I have a little bit of ease here and there, it's not a huge deal for me. So I knit an extra large, and then the amount of yarn that I used was 352 grams of the Yarnadelic Sport, or 1,282 yards. So I got away with about like less than 4 skeins for it. I did have to wind up another skein, but that's because I had split one of the skeins with my friend Sharon. And so like I needed to wind up the skein for like 1.5 rows of ribbing and bind off, which was so annoying. But now that I have that wound up, I think I'm just gonna make a hat out of it. So that's basically it about the yarn. The modifications that I did, one, I did a sleeve modification. I guess I didn't read the pattern properly, but I just did a straight sleeve. And then when they got to the cuff, I realized I was supposed to be evenly decreasing it. So then I was like, we're just going to balloon sleeve, rapid decrease at the cuff, which is what I did. And then, so I just did rapid decreases, like 1 row before I switched needles, 1 row of stockinette in the ribbing needle, and then I did the ribbing. And I also did a neck modification. I did not do a folded neckband. So I think in the pattern, she does a folded neckband. I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need to do that. So I just did like I think 7 or 8 rows of twisted rib for the neckline, and that was it. And then my sleeve was about 140 rows long. So yeah, just imagine knitting that many rows for your sleeve and then get back to me because that was a lot of knitting. So the thing about the sleeves is I had knit probably like 60 or 80 rows last time I filmed on one sleeve. And then within 2 days, I finished that first sleeve. So then after I'd finished those sleeves, I was like, second sleeve, how long is that going to take me? Like, should I budget like 20 rows a day, like I said in my video? And I think I finished the second sleeve in like 2.5 days. Because once you know the amount you need to get to, you can kind of just start zooming. For whatever reason, the first sleeve always takes me so long and the second sleeve zips by. I think it's because I'm doing like the math of how much I need to knit to get to a certain point. So even for this sweater, I knit the first sleeve in 3 days and I knit the second sleeve in 1 day. So I think it's just that initial thinking of, should I stop here? Should I keep going? That's what takes longer in the sleeve knitting process for me than actually the sleeve knitting. So once I finished the first sleeve, the second sleeve kind of zoomed really, really, really fast. And I also made it like a push goal of mine to try to finish the project by or the day after my birthday. So all in all, this took me, I cast on my swatch on February 7th and I finished it September 26th. So sizable amount of time. There were many months where I did not knit on this at all. And now I'm just glad that I have another sweater in the fall and winter rotation. Some things I know about the yarn is that it does tend to pill quite a bit. My friends Serena and Jack, they finished theirs quite a while ago and have had many wears on their garments, and they said that it pills like no other, like they've had to depill it quite often. So I'm hoping that with time, like, and removing the pills, it doesn't pill quite as much, but I haven't worn it at all yet because I just haven't had the opportunity to. I would probably depill it like multiple times because many of my garments I've had to depill like 3 or 4 times. So I will have to do that eventually when the time comes, but for now, it is pristine, it is beautiful. One other thing that I felt like I could have improved upon in this pattern is that maybe like my row gauge was a little tight or smaller because all of the detailing is like right here. And I feel like it would have been nice if that detailing kind of came down my chest a little bit more. It's fine. I lengthened the pattern in the body and the sleeves anyways, but it just kind of is weird that there's only details like right here and then the rest of it is just stockinette. So I feel like maybe it would have been nice for myself to start the cable detail a little bit lower than what the pattern recommended. But again, like it's done. And the cabling part of the pattern was like probably the easiest. The hardest part was doing all the stockinette for some reason. So that's my Satsuki pullover. And I would definitely knit Sari Nordlund patterns again. I have quite a few queued up actually, but this pattern in particular was really nice, but I don't think I'll make it again just because I only need one sweater that has like that motif on it. I don't need multiple. So yeah, that's finished object number 1. And then my second finished object is, it was a baby in the last video, and now it is full on done. So that is my Stripey Turtle Tank by Emily Curtis. This is a magnificent, beautiful piece that I'm so excited to be done with. When I say this flew off my needles, I mean it. Like it actually did fly when I was working on it. So the Stripey Turtle Tank is a bottom-up construction. So I started with the bottom ribbing and then I knit like however many I needed to get to the armhole split. So I added, I think about 1.5, no wait. She said go to 8.5. So maybe I think I got up to 11 inches. So I added like 2.5 inches to the body before I did the armhole split. And then you knit the front and the back separately. Then you join at the shoulders, and then you pick up the rest of the edgings and finish them off. So this project, I started it on September 12th. I finished it on October 3rd, which was yesterday. Yeah, because today is the 4th. So I finished it yesterday. This was knit in conjunction with my friends Jax, Sharon, and Serena. If you watched Sharon's knitting podcast, she would have talked about hers on her latest episode. And let me go through the colors. So the first main color, that's also my ribbing color, is called Fig by Explorer Knits. Then at the very first stripe, we have Poetry by Woolberry Fiber Co. Then this reddish color is Hot Toddy by Sorella Yarn. Then we have a white color, which is just some scrap that I have from one of my mini skeins. Then we have this green color, which is Malabrigo Sock in the shade Fiona. Then we have this like light taupey color. This is, I think, a Sorella Winter Tonal. And then I have this Grello color, which I think is Muckross by Explorer Knits and Fibers. So these 6 colors were just a very, I don't really think I'm like an expert at putting colors together, but this particular color combination for this tank top, I'm so proud of it. I was thinking of like a fall palette when I was coming up with the colors, and I just kept pulling mini skeins together and trying to see what works, because I really ultimately did not want to dip into anything new. I had already had the main color Fig wound up because I was going to use it in my Stephen West MCal last year. And so I wound it up for that. And then I dropped out of the MCal like literally 2 minutes into it. So I had this wound up already, and I was like waiting for a project where I could use it. And all the minis were basically things that just didn't have plans, or they were leftovers from other projects. Like I think the Poetry colorway I'd used in socks, which were shown in my last episode. The red Sorella color is what I used for one of the baby knits I made. And this green colorway I used in a Musselburgh for a friend. And the other colors were just mini skeins that I had on hand. So yeah, this is the stripy turtle tank. Let me see. Okay, so all in all, I think I used, like, this garment was about 624 yards total. So for the main colorway, it used 89 grams. And then for all the contrast colors, it used anywhere from like 10 to 12 grams. So some of the fingering weight contrast colors were like a thinner light fingering, and some of them were a thicker 2-ply fingering. So I think that's why some used a little bit more versus some used a little bit less. So this one I plan to wear it with like, this is like the typical podcaster thing, but it's like I plan to wear this on top of a dress. I actually bought a linen dress just so I could try to like layer this on top. And also just because I kind of wanted to try out a linen dress, but not buy the super expensive ones. So I got one from Amazon for like $30. We're gonna see if it works. So I'll plan on wearing this on top, like a layering piece. I don't think I'd wear it by itself just because it is pretty cropped on me. It was super cropped pre-blocking, and then once I blocked it, it's kind of loosened up and lengthened a little bit. But that being said, I'll probably put a button down under it, or I will wear it over a dress. Yeah, I'll experiment with styling. And I'm really excited to take matching photos with my friends in this. I think we all decided on like a moody, cooler, darker color palette. And that's great because we'll have really fun matching stripy tanks. The other 3 girls, they're going to be going to Lambtown in Dixon, California, and my wallet will be attending with them. I have very strict instructions for Sharon that she needs to purchase a sweater quantity for me of something that Sharon would buy for herself. And what that means is basically it needs to be kind of rustic-y, kind of like a natural colorway. I don't really want any like hand-dyed anything this time just because I have so much hand-dyed yarn. So I'd really like to get something that's like, you know, what farm it's coming from, or you know, like the sheep or whatever, something like that. I told her, I was like, Sharon, if you would get it for yourself, I want you to think about getting it for me. I only want one sweater quantity, and maybe I'll get like another skein or two of something if the other friends are going to be getting something as a group together, because I get FOMO. So if they do it, I want to do it too. Unfortunately, I haven't been to Lambtown. They went last year, and they're going again this year, and it just didn't work out timing wise for me this year. I have like quite a few events that are happening in October. Like my baby shower, for example, is happening, and I do work weekends. So the weekends that I am free, I need to show up for my job. So yeah, that's just what it is. It's what happens when you're kind of self-employed. You kind of make your own schedule, but then you're also bound to that schedule. So yeah, that's it for my finished objects. I am very all over the place today, but I don't know. I took my notes this morning, and then I took a long break after taking the notes, and then now I'm sitting down to film, and I feel like I should have just taken them right before I filmed, because then it would have all been fresh in my mind. But it's totally fine. We're gonna just take a quick water break. Drinking water in my Stanley, which is light pink. I was watching the We Share Needles podcast, and they said that they don't like Stanleys because it reminds them of like conservative women. And that made me laugh because I couldn't be farther from that stereotype. But I do like the Stanley because it has a straw. And then they were mentioning the Owala water bottles. So I might look into getting a Owala. I have a Hydro Flask already. But the thing is like I have like sensitive teeth, and I prefer drinking with a straw, and the Hydro Flask, I don't have like a straw attachment for it. And the Stanley is great, but it does leak. And this one I bought like probably like a few months ago, and it has a bunch of scratches on it, which is really frustrating because I bought this colorway because I thought it was really cute. Oh my God, me calling water bottles colorways. Anyways, I bought this color bottle because I thought it was really cute, but now I see all these like metal scratches on it. The positive is I can throw this in the dishwasher, and I'm not supposed to throw my Hydro Flask in the dishwasher. I don't know if that's true. I just remember reading that once, so I've like only hand washed my Hydro Flask. Anyways, this has been a water bottle update, and now we'll move on to works in progress. So my first whip, I don't know if I even started this in the last episode. My first whip is a Manhattan hat. Let me come up close. This is a Manhattan hat by Tori Yu. And you'll see it's just a lot of 1x1 rib. And the yarn that I'm using is, let's see if you can focus. The yarn that I'm using is Madeline Tosh Merino in the shade Mandala. I don't remember where I got this. I think I did like a trade with a friend, and she gave me this. And I only had one skein, so I was like, obviously it's gonna eventually become a hat. This is actually a gift from my dad. So I had originally planned to make this a while ago for his birthday, but he has a birthday in July. So I was like, it doesn't matter if I give it to you now, you're not gonna be able to wear it for a while. And then I got really motivated to cast it on after he got me the mic. I was like, oh, let me just do a quick cast on and see if I can get this done by the time it cools down. And you'll see I've gotten quite a lot done of it. So the Manhattan hat, it is a 1x1 rib throughout. This one I'm holding it double, so you'll see that I'm like center pulling from the outside and the inside for this one, so it is a little bit chaotic. But I love how it's working up. It's 100% merino, so I have a feeling it might grow just like a teensy bit in blocking. And I'm making the adult large size. I'm using US 5 needles, and this one is going to be a single brim because I don't think I'll have enough yarn for a double brim. So my goal is to finish it within the next 2 days. I have, I think, 8¼ inches, and I need to get to 9.5 before I start the crown decreases. That really should not be a problem. I can knit an inch on this in like 30 minutes because it's just so addicting to knit. And holding yarn double for it makes it even faster. I know there's a Manhattan hat light, which I think I would make for myself, but for gifts for other people, I have typically stuck to making things in DK weight or thicker, just because I don't mind struggling through fingering weight things for myself. But when it comes to knitting for others, I really prefer to use my time in a way that will be appreciated. And I think my time will best be appreciated in the object being done and then being able to use it rather than having really, really intricate fingering weight something. So that's it for that one. When it comes to gift knitting, like I'm starting to feel this energy of like, yeah, I want to gift knit. Yeah, I want to get these things done. I think in the last episode I talked about these Dear Bjorn socks. I ended up actually frogging those because I just really was not enjoying the process of knitting toe up, and I didn't have my sister-in-law to try those socks on, so I was just worried about the fit the entire time. And I ended up knitting it too long. Like it probably could have fit me. That's how long the socks were. So I frogged it, and then I asked her, are you okay if I just do a hat for you instead? And she's like, absolutely. And so I'm going to make her a Musselburgh hat when I'm done with this. So gift knitting wise, like I feel very motivated right now to get those done. So I have a couple of gift knits that are going to happen. I'm just going to have one gift knit on my needles at any given time, either a hat, either a small baby knit, like a sweater, or yeah, that's it. Hats are like baby sweaters, and that's about it. Because I don't think I really want to gift socks to other people unless I can have them try on the socks for me regularly. So that's it for the Manhattan hat. My next whip is the Stria cardigan by Andrea Mowry. This has been a long-term work in progress of mine. I started this January 1st, 2022, and we are well into 2023. So I'll just hold it up for a second. So this is the first sleeve that has been done already. All I did was I added stitch markers to like wherever I had sleeve decreases because I hadn't done that the first time around. And now I've started the second sleeve. I was knitting on this before I started filming today, and I have basically, I don't know, I have like 15 or so decreases remaining. Originally, I was just gonna match this sleeve and just finish a little bit right after the last stripe. But I think what I wanna do is I wanna add about an inch of length to this sleeve. And so what I'll do is I'm gonna knit this sleeve to the length that I think I would prefer the first sleeve to be. And then I will finish it off, and then I'll come back to this sleeve, pick up for that. I'll probably rip out the cuff because my bind off is whack, and I will redo all the ribbing later, and I'll just add like another inch or so here, and then I'll come back to the body and finish the body. I have a goal of finishing this for the second sleeve by my next podcast. So in about 2 weeks time, I should try to finish off the second sleeve. This will be possible if I am consistent. So if I do 2 or so stripes every single day, I think I can do it. The stripes are going by way faster for me now that I am faster at knitting, now that I'm more patient with myself, and now that I am somewhat motivated to get it done. And the colors are so autumnal and perfect for the season. So I think I should just try to finish it right now while I can wear it regularly. And I think cardigans are just something that I really am craving more of in my wardrobe. I only have one, my gown cardigan. So I think it'd be nice to have a second one. And I'll be having a third one ideally later this year or early next year. So it'll just be nice to have a couple of options and variety. The yarn that I used in this one is Knit Picks Palette, and the shade, that's the main color shade is Oyster Heather, so that's that cream color. Then my striping order, the first color is this one right here. This is Salsa Heather. Then this orange color is Cayenne. Then we have Masala. And the last color is Holly Berry. So this is a 4-stripe repeat that I came up with. And yeah, it's slow, but it's not impossible. And I think in my experience as a knitter in the past couple of years, having a lot of purling, which is what I have to do a lot for in the sleeves, would have originally deterred me. But I think I have grown a lot, and I've also improved how I purl. I improved how I tension. So I find that this is a lot easier to knit now. And I think I just have more patience as a knitter now. Like, I think I'm way more prone to like pushing myself and picking patterns that are not just like basic stockinette throughout. I do like a lot of stockinette, but I also like challenging myself a little bit and having texture here and there. So this is looking like it's going to make some solid progress in the next couple of weeks, and I don't have any other sweaters going on except for this, or my size sweaters. So I think we can do it. It'll be nice. It'll be really nice to finish it soon. Then finally, we have some things that are coming up soon. I decided to sign up for a test knit, but hear me out. It's for a baby garment. So test knitting for baby is fine because one, that means I just have more baby knits for when he comes. And two, they don't take up a lot of time. Like, I think I knit my baby sweater last time in 2 days. So I'm pretty convinced that I can finish these baby garments within a week each. So I am going to be testing the Jude baby sweater, and this is the swatch that I have. The yarn that I'm using is Cascade Heritage. So it's a fingering weight yarn, and I'm holding it double. I find this to be a very beautiful teddy brown color. This is in the shade color 5759. So it doesn't have a name, it's just 5759. And I did a really full swatch, and I'm using eyelets to show what needle size I'm using. So this is US 6. And I hit gauge, which is amazing. So I get to start this right away. And the baby sweater is by Abbi Makes, and it is due on October 31st. So since I'm just doing the 6 to 12 month size, I really don't think it'll take me that long. And it has this really cute stockinette, reverse stockinette texture. Yeah. You'll either see this done in the next episode, or you'll see this like mostly done in the next episode, because I do plan on casting this on relatively soon, maybe as soon as my Manhattan hat is done. And then I have one more that is planning to be casted on pretty soon. It is the Cameron Pullover by Noelle Knits. And Noelle Knits just released this pattern actually, so it's already out. You can go ahead and purchase it if you would like. But she said that she did not have any testers for the smallest sizes, so 0 to 6 months, 6 to 12 month. And I decided if she needed someone to test the pattern out, I can do the 6 to 12 month size. So she was like, yeah, please go for it. I didn't really have any yarn in stash for this that was like a quantity. I think it's a heavy worsted weight gauge. And so what I decided to do is I'm going to use scraps from many previous projects and try to make like a Frankenstein type sweater. I don't know. That makes it sound not appealing at all, but basically I'm going to be using leftover skeins from my previous projects. So the way that the sweater has been marketed is it has like 3 color block sections. So I tried to find 3 different yarns in stash that had enough where I could kind of I could fudge it a little bit and make it work. So since it's 3 color block sections, I'm going to go ahead and just go for a pure white at the top. This is Le Fibre Nobili Taj Mahal Lana Merino Superfine from Seta Kashmir by Filatura Cervinia. I got this in a estate sale D-stash, so I don't think it's continued but it's a really soft like silk wool blend. It is 8% cashmere, 22% silk, 70% virgin wool. So this is going to be the top color because it's going to be closest to the baby's neck. It's very, very, very soft and luxurious. So that's the first color. Then the middle section is going to be a mix of, so these are two sport weight yarns. Surprisingly, they're the same colorway. It's Malabrigo Arroyo in the shade Diana. It's the same colorway, but you know, Malabrigo has such insanely different dye lots that it's hard to tell. So this will be the middle section. And if I run out of this, I will toss in some of this. Oh, dropped it. Okay. So this will be the colorway right after that. This is Malabrigo Rios. So Arroyo is sport. Rios is worsted. So I'll hold this double and then I'll hold this single. I don't remember what color this is, but I made a hat for my brother with it, and this is just the leftover I have. So that'll be the middle section. And then I have this Craft Me Not Yarn Co. I think the shade is Silver Garden. I made my friend's baby a hat with this, so I'll just use the remainder of it for the sweater. If I run out of yarn at this point, I'll just dip into mini skeins and hold them double, or I'm just like looking to see what I have, but I'm sure I can find something else to make it work. And I think the total yardage is like 360 yards of worsted weight, so I feel like I can fudge it and make it work. I really didn't want to go and buy yarn for this project just because I felt like I should have something that works. So that's the intention. Just use something from Stash. It's a baby sweater. They're not going to know anyways. Like it's not going to be a big deal for them. So that's it for what's coming up next with my cast-ons. I have been having that really itchy, like I need to cast something on. I need to start something new. So I do plan to cast on something on November 1st. That is the Calm Down Cardigan by LilyKate Makes. I'll show you the yarn I'm going to use for it later. I also think I'm going to cast on a Slightly Sassy V by Aimee Sher pretty soon. I got yarn for this at Flock Fiber Festival, and then my friends Sharon and Ariel might also be casting it on soon with me. In addition to just like gift knitting and doing some like upcoming gift knits, I might also put a little bit of time on working on the baby blanket for my son. I haven't really done that. I don't know. Garments are always so much more enticing to make than like a blanket because you just know a blanket is going to be a ton of knitting. But garments, you're like, oh yeah, I do this and then I do this and then I do this and then it's done. So I think I will be trying to put a little bit more of a concerted effort into the baby blanket. So my upcoming goals are finish the Manhattan hat, finish the sleeve of Stria, finish one of the baby knits, and swatch for the Calm Down Cardigan and swatch for a Slightly Sassy V. I think this is pretty doable. The only thing that has a ton of knitting on it is the Stria cardigan, but otherwise I really feel like this is something I can definitely get done. So that's it for all the works in progress. That's it for upcoming plans. I'm going to take a quick break and then we're going to go ahead and get into acquisitions. And we're back. So now I'm going to go ahead and get into some acquisitions. I, along with a couple of my friends, put in a massive order of yarn cones from Woolyknit. We typically tend to order together when we have to do international orders or even domestic orders, because if one of us is not getting too much, it's easier to split shipping with another person. So what we ended up doing was I put the order in and I ordered on behalf of all of us, and I have their yarn and I have my yarn to show you guys today. So first I'm going to go ahead and show you the yarn that I plan to use for my Calm Down cardigan, which is this beautiful red color from Woolyknit. This is in the British wool, and I think this is shade Cherry Red. So I got 2 cones of this because the Calm Down cardigan is a little bit of a yarn eater. I think in the testing process, many people needed to buy more yarn for it. So I just went ahead and got 2, and if I have extra, I will just either give it away, I will trade with my friend, I will make something new. I don't know. The British wool is a little bit on the scratchy side, but I hear that it plumps up really nicely after blocking, and it is going to be outerwear, a cardigan, so I feel like it'll plump up nicely and it'll be nice and rusticy for the exterior. Then let me just go through all the British wool that I got. I also got a cone of burgundy red. Yeah, burgundy red. This color is just beautiful. I saw Sharon knitting her Malinois cardigan out of this, and I got this so that I could make a Aurelia pullover by Sari Nordlund. It's a cabled design all over. And I think for me, like, making cabled designs sounds great in theory, but then when I start looking at how much yarn I'm going to need, it becomes very expensive because usually cables eat a lot of yarn and I have long arms and I usually lengthen everything. So for me, if I buy hand dyed, I'm looking at 8 or 9 skeins of yarn, and that is just a lot. So for me, buying a cone is a much more economical process. So I got this for that. It's a really lovely brownish red. Hopefully that color kind of picks up. Hard to say. Then another color that I got was Pine Forest Green. It's a little bluey, but it's a little green at the same time, and I was really looking for a nice forest green color. So this one, I think I might make a dad sweater out of. My friends did inform me that I might play yarn chicken because I only got one cone of this. For the burgundy red, I got this, plus they had a 200-gram hank, so I added that on to try to get enough yardage. This one, I thought I added the 200-gram hank to it, but I didn't. And when I checked out, I was like, it's too late. I'm just gonna make do with one cone. So if I run out, I will order more. It's no big deal. I can just get a 200-gram hank and that should be enough. So this is for a dad sweater. And then the last British wool color I got is Cream Nep. So this is just their cream color with some tweedy bits all throughout. I got this for a Moby sweater. I think Florence from Handmade by Florence has made a tweedy Moby sweater, and that has lived rent-free in my head since that moment. So I think I will also be making a tweed Moby sweater. If I hold this double, I might not need to add mohair to it because it'll probably hit like a DK or a worsted weight gauge depending on my swatch. So yeah, that is this one. And then I got a couple of merino cones as well. So the first merino cone I got is Tierra Beige Nep. So again, this one is a tweedy cone, but it has lovely light beige and cream running throughout. I don't know what I'm going to make with this. I think something textured for sure, but I don't know what that is yet. So this is just kind of like going to be a stash enhancement for now. And then the other color I got is Kalina Gray. It's just a really lovely gray color. And this is going to be a Jenny Jacket V-neck edition. So I'm gonna hold this double, and then I probably will also get a light gray mohair to hold with it because the Jenny Jacket is like a heavy worsted. So that is this. The merino cones are much softer than the British wool cones, but I am no stranger to rustic, scratchier, toothier yarns. I find them to be quite lovely to work with, and I don't mind feeling that little bit of prickliness. Like right now, the mohair is actually prickling me like crazy from this sweater, but I think it's because it's hot, not necessarily because the mohair is irritating me. So I'm excited to knit with these eventually. This one being the first one I'm going to knit with. And you know, the British wool is such a good bang for your buck. And now that the shipping is much cheaper, it makes me want to buy more cones. I don't have a ton of cone storage though, so I need to actually get working with the cones. But with the cones, I tend to hold the yarn double. So it's kind of like you get a light fingering, but you end up with like a DK or a light worsted, depending on how tightly you knit. So yeah, that is my cone haul. And I'm just gonna show you the cones that my friends got. So this is what Sharon purchased. So she got, this is a merino cone in the shade Medulla Green. It's a really lovely sage green, kind of comparable to Knitting for Olive Dusty Artichoke. I find this to be ever so slightly lighter than Dusty Artichoke. And then she also got Framboesa Pink. This is also a merino cone. This is not quite highlighter pink. It's closer to like a fuchsia, like a really bright fuchsia, lots of purple in it. She's going to use this to make a calm down cardigan, I believe. And then this is also a British wool cone, and this is Autumn Glow. So this one is a really fun, not quite burgundy, but also not like pink either. And it has a lot of gray running through it, so it's like a heathered colorway. And then finally, what my friend Jack ordered. Jack is the best of us. She knows exactly what to order and doesn't over order like me. So she got Plata. This is a merino cone. Plata is like a lavender and a sky blue kind of mixed together. It's really soft. It's really pretty. And I think if I have to think about my friend Jack, like, and the colors that she likes, it's typically something like this. She usually likes like a light blue, a light gray, a light, like all the light blues, basically. That's what I think of when I think of her. Or any shades of blue, to be honest. Or even like a beigey color, like that's her. This is very much her. So Jack is like someone who I was like, you know, if I have extra of this, I'll trade you for your extras of this. So I think we might do a little switcheroo because she's really into all the reds as well. So that is it for the cones. Lots of cones in my future. And I think cones are pretty economical. I think I think the British wool is 25 pounds for 500 plus grams. And the merino cone is like 28 pounds. And Sharon also was doing a promotion with Woolyknit, so you could get 20% off of everything. Plus, combined with the fact that shipping is much cheaper, it was just a huge deal. So that's why I ended up getting so much. I do eventually plan on knitting with all of it, obviously, so it is worthwhile for me. And if you don't have any irritations when it comes to rusticy yarn, then it would be a great investment as well. Her code runs through October 6th, and hopefully I get this video up earlier than that, so if you see it, you can utilize the code. She doesn't get any kickbacks or anything from it, so it's really just if you want to participate and get some cones, you can go ahead and do that. So that's it for the acquisitions portion. I'm going to quickly get into a little bit of life chat. So the biggest one being, I am in my 3rd trimester of my pregnancy. I am 31 weeks along. So that basically means I'm a little bit less, I'm shy of 8 months. They say pregnancy is like a 9-month long thing, but it's really closer to 10 months because it's like a 40-week thing, unless you deliver early, but you're considered full term at 37 weeks. So at 37, you can kind of give birth at any time. And I'm at 31 right now. The baby is the size of a coconut, according to one portal, and the size of a zucchini, according to another portal. I love checking weekly and seeing like how big the baby is because I just think it's so fun to see like, oh, it's a coconut. But is it an organic coconut or is it a smaller one? I don't know. Like, so I think if I had to guess, it's like about that big. And I know based on our last ultrasound that the baby is currently measuring at 3 pounds, 10 ounces. So I think in the next couple of weeks, he'll grow quite a bit more and hopefully not get too gigantic in the womb, but we'll see. Generally, the pregnancy has been fine, but I've noticed that in the past couple of days, I've been getting some aches and pains. So one of them is my hip, my back. So my general pelvis area, like round ligament pain, has been starting up. And then I do get quite a bit of acid reflux in the evenings if I'm not careful about what I eat. These are all kind of things that people say happen. And then when it finally happens to you, you're like, I wish someone warned me that it was actually going to be as bad as it is. I was talking to Aimee Sher, and she was reminding me that early on in my pregnancy, I was having such bad nausea that I couldn't knit. And I told them, I was like, I literally forgot that that happened. So to rewind it back a little bit, at the beginning of my pregnancy, I got COVID, and then I also was having the symptoms of nausea and vomiting. And I was signed up for 2 test knits with Aimee, and I messaged Aimee early enough, and I was like, hey, Aimee, like, I'm pregnant. I'm not able to knit right now. My nausea is so bad, I can't really do much. And Aimee was obviously more than gracious and was like, no worries. Like, you don't need to bother about like testing it at all. Like, just get through this part of your pregnancy. And I was talking to her about like something else. I think it was about like linen clothing. And Aimee reminded me, she's like, oh yeah, like, and we were talking about maternity clothing, and then eventually I was like, yeah, I feel like my symptoms haven't been that bad. And then Aimee was like, you literally could not knit. And I was like, oh, I forgot about that. So it's like the pregnancy brain thing is real. I think it's because your body is so used to just like overproducing on all the hormones and just taking care of the baby that you tend to like lose cognitive function a little bit, or maybe not even lose the function, but just your body is just doing so much, so you just kind of forget about it. So that was kind of funny that Aimee reminded me that I actually did kind of have it bad, but now that I'm like so much farther into the pregnancy, that feels like such a long time ago, so I don't even remember it. But the worst part about things right now is the acid reflux. Like when I have acid reflux, I like can't sleep because I just feel like a burning in my chest. And then the other things that kind of are painful is like my hips sometimes when I sleep, or my lower back will be aching because of the pressure from my bump. So that is a little bit of a pain, but it's not something that deters me. I don't know if that makes sense. Like some people might see pregnancy as being like a really uncomfortable, painful, horrible time. But for me, I've never, like the idea of pregnancy has never been an issue for me. Going through it now, I can see why it's like a very horrible ordeal for some people. And I do have to admit, I don't think my pregnancy has been the worst. I think I've had it relatively easy compared to other people. But there are still aches and pains, and I do miss having uninterrupted sleep. I usually have to get up 2 to 3 times a night to either go to the bathroom or drink water or whatever. So I do miss having uninterrupted sleep. And I know I'm not going to get that for a very long time. So feel free to not comment. Just wait till the baby comes, because I know it's going to be worse than this. I just didn't know that this part was going to be this bad. So otherwise, baby's growing healthy. We're ready. We're having baby showers coming up soon. I say showers because I have 2 baby showers. One is being hosted by my mom, and one's being hosted by my mother-in-law. And they're both so gracious and lovely people that are going to be helping out a ton when the baby's here. We also managed to paint our nursery. So I did a warm marshmallow color on 3 walls, and we did an accent wall color of sage green. I don't know if I've talked about it much, but we are doing like a jungle themed nursery, because I just really like all the sage green, brown, and cream colors, and it just felt like natural that that would be the colors that I wanted in the nursery. Plus, like, I just think it'll be really cute. We always call the baby like a little monkey, so I think it'll be fun to have our little monkey grow up in a jungle themed nursery. And then finally, the baby or the furniture is starting to come together. We have a bassinet, we have a crib, we have the changing table, we need to assemble the changing table, and then we just need to decorate a little bit. So that's what the next couple of weeks are going to look like for us. Yeah, 31 weeks means like I kind of want to get it all done in the next 4 weeks, because I really don't want to be thinking too much about stuff that needs to get done once I hit 36 weeks. I think the baby can come at any moment, and I want to be prepared. And there's only so much you can do, obviously, but I just want to make sure that we're like ready to go. So yeah. So other than the baby stuff, the things I've been consuming, mainly TV, lots of Real Housewives, and a little bit of Netflix reality TV. So Love is Blind season 5 is back. There are, I think, 6 episodes out now, and this season is spicier than ever. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it, there are not that many couples this season because, well, you have to watch it. You have to watch it, and then you can like understand why there's not as many couples. And also just everyone is like trashier or messier than ever. There's so much like fighting already that's happening, and I'm just like, love it, binge watching it the second it comes out. So season 5 is really good. I've been keeping up with Real Housewives of New York. They did a reboot of the original Real Housewives of New York because the original cast, by the end, it got kind of wackadoodle. So now they rebooted it with a brand new cast, and the cast is like interesting. I really, really like Jessel. She is, I don't know exactly what she does, but Jessel is really, really interesting to me. There's also Jenna Lyons, who personality-wise, she's fine. She's an interesting character. I don't know how I feel. I'm not like a stan of anyone necessarily in the Real Housewives franchise. Like I just like watching them and seeing the interactions. But I do like Jessel a lot in the New York series. And then I'm also watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It is mess, and in a good way. I've been a big fan of Salt Lake City since it came out. Like I think I told every single person I talked to that they had to watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So that just goes to show how much I love Salt Lake City. I think it's just like the most messy of all the franchises. And I think that's because you have like the background setting of Mormonism, and then it's heavily religious compared to the other franchises. So you have a lot of like, I feel like judgment coming from people within the Housewives itself. So there's Heather and Whitney, who are the cousins that are always fighting. There is Meredith and Lisa, who are best friends, not best friends, trying to work on their friendship again. So Salt Lake City for me is just like pinnacle of messy housewives, and I enjoy watching it a lot. This season is not disappointing because we are in a post Jen Shah Salt Lake City. Jen Shah very publicly went to jail. I feel like I'm not doing justice talking about the housewives as much as Knits by Mandy does, but I just do really enjoy watching Salt Lake City, and that's my favorite. That's my personal favorite Housewives franchise, and then right after that is Real Housewives of Potomac, which I think is coming back very soon. So I am very excited to see what happens in the next couple of months with my housewives because my favorite Below Deck show just got done. But yeah, that's it for today. If you liked what you saw, if you got to this point, please comment with the 3 droplets of water. That emoji, the 3 drops of water, or just like a teardrop emoji. And let me know what you were working on when you watched this video. Let me know what you would like to see me talk about next. I think I might do a quick little bonus episode next week, like a knit and chat. So since I'm planning to do that, I'll put a question box up on my Instagram and you can ask me anything there. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope it wasn't too all over the place. I don't know. Every time I film, I feel like I'm rusty, even though it's not even that far apart from when I last filmed. So who knows? Maybe I'll get better at this eventually. Hopefully by episode 10, I'll have it down. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.